In my book, 369 Days, How to Survive a Year of Worst Case Scenarios, I basically have four dominoes of things that happened in those 369 days. If you look at the cover, you'll see what they are. What I found probably the most frustrating of the four dominoes, because I was not in town when it happened, was the car situation. Backstory, as you recall if you've been watching these videos, is in 2009 I had a heart attack, and then after 17 weeks of recovery I lost my job, and then I had to relocate to Toronto to find work. So going back to that time frame, I was in my new role for about 6 weeks, and then I received a phone call from one of my daughters, and she was crying quite strongly on the call. And once she was able to compose herself, I was able to get information that our car, family vehicle, had been repossessed by the bank. When you're unemployed for nearly a year and you're not getting any income for a period of time, it's amazing how quickly things can go sideways. Once I finally had received a paycheck again, started catching up on some things. Mind you, I didn't have drug coverage, so my medical expenses for the prescriptions for my heart medication were close to $700 a month. So I kind of needed that in order to stay alive. So those were the priorities: food and medications to keep me alive. So car payments obviously take a backseat, as do other things. We had negotiated with the auto loan organization a delay in payments, but that timing had come to an end, and I think over a period of time, once I got the normal paychecks coming in and finding a new place to live and everything else, we would have been able to start making our car payments again and start catching up. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. So I was in Toronto, family was in Windsor. So when the car or family vehicle was repossessed, I was 4 hours away. It was probably one of the most powerless feelings I've ever had as an adult, knowing that I had zero control and I wasn't there to try to deal with the situation. Thankfully, the tow truck company was kind enough to allow the family to empty the contents of the vehicle before they towed it away. I can't imagine what that visual was like, seeing the family vehicle being taken from us. I know that was a traumatic experience for my daughter, and I'm sure for the rest of my family as well. It was traumatic for me because I was so far away and there was nothing I could do about it. But again, as with everything, it was probably the best thing that ever happened, because based on income levels and all of that, that was a very expensive car payment. So it was a very expensive lesson. And the homework for you is, I want you to look at what you're spending your money on. Now, this is not a financial course by any stretch, but you need to look at how you spend your money, what your budget looks like. Hopefully you have a budget. If you don't, leave a message below and I can get you a free resource on how to budget, because you need to be able to control what you spend. We're all on fixed incomes, so you need to be able to spend accordingly on the things that are important. And I'm not saying that you're spending money that you shouldn't be spending on. We work because we want to be able to do things and have things. There's nothing wrong with that. But you also have to make sure that you're able to pay your bills and take care of the things you need to do. So personally, it was an embarrassing period of time, frustrating for sure, because we were hoping and getting back on our feet to be able to pay our bills again. And unfortunately, the bank had lost its patience and decided to take the vehicle back. Hopefully none of you have experienced that. If you have, I know how you feel. It was not a pleasant experience, but it was one of growth, one where I focus on what's important and what's not. You don't need the brand new shiny car. You need a vehicle that can serve you and the needs that you have. So the next story I'll talk about is our home. That one is something that is definitely a worst case scenario for many, many people. And I hope that you can take and find inspiration of what happened to me, and hopefully can make the changes in your life so it never happens to you. Until tomorrow, be well.